So I want to turn now to your more recent initiative called Commonwealth. On that website, you explain the difference between basic income, which alleviates poverty, and Commonwealth, which proposes a better way to share and preserve the Earth's riches. You're offering ways to find the funding for this that won't negatively affect anyone, like you just said. And I love that. I think that's really intelligent.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'd like to introduce a new project called Commonwealth. It's not about basic income, although it does pay dividends. So this is actually looking at what's actually got society into the place that it's in now. Like, why do we have poverty in the first place? And a lot of it is our relationship to the value of land and the environment. A lot of it has to do with the unearned income, what economists call economic rents that exist in societies, especially as monopolies form, as oligopolies form. I would argue that we actually don't live in capitalism right now. We live in some variant of old feudalism, where the old landed gentry, the old nobility class, are still basically the power holders. And we just found a way to share more in land ownership and property ownership with more and more people. So I look at a lot of the problems we have with the environment is that we have the privatization of the full profits that come from extraction of the environment, of minerals, of oil. We treat the value of the environment as a private good when the value of the environment should really be a common good, something that benefits everyone, because no one put oil in the ground. The value of increase of land is not created by an individual's efforts. It doesn't create more productivity when land values go up. Land values go up because of overall productivity. And that makes life more expensive for everyone, for students, for the next generation, for people's kids. The cost of housing is the number one cost in anyone's life. So Commonwealth talks about how can we create a world where we have some wealth in common, held in common, so that everyone has a net worth that can pay dividends, so that we're taxing things that make life more expensive so that things stay cheap. So we're talking about how do we find a way that everyone benefits as society progresses while things don't get too expensive. And that, I think, is a fundamental thing we have to tackle to reach a decent society. And in our exploration, it's not communism and it's not socialism. It's recognizing that in a market economy, there is a lot of unearned income does not increase productivity, and that unearned income really should belong to everyone as a common good. So we argue for two things. We argue for a land value tax that taxes the rental value of land, which has been argued for since the beginning of economics, as a very capitalist idea, in fact, as a very free market idea. And we also argue for a national investment fund, like an investment portfolio that everyone owns a small share of, that can pay everyone some dividends. And this is not a controversial idea. There are over 60 investment funds around the world that already help people financially through reduced taxes, primarily. But in a couple of jurisdictions, in Alaska and in Nevis, St. Kitts, in the Caribbean, they have these portfolios that actually pay people dividends. It's like a pension fund, except it's for everybody. And the proceeds from super profits from environmental extraction, from pollution, from minerals could go into this fund. Non-renewables, profits from non-renewables could go into this fund, the unearned portion anyway. And that could actually buy stocks and bonds, and everyone could buy some stocks and bonds. It could own some stocks and bonds that pay them dividends, a form of a property rights. So, Sam Altman, who's the president of OpenAI, which is driving artificial intelligence innovation right now, argues that this future we're moving into of a lot of automation of work, really value won't be created by labor. It'll be in companies and it'll be in land, because these two things go up in value as society progresses. So we need to find a way to share in some of the value of land and create some sort of way to create ownership of stocks and bonds that can pay everyone dividends. So a land value tax specifically would be a way to fund government as opposed to income taxes, as well as pay dividends to people. If we all had dividends coming to us from the value of land and also from the value held in these investment funds, and we could reduce or eliminate income taxes for the bottom 70% of those with the least wealth, we will see a tremendous shift, a much better society where everyone has income security, has some wealth. We've addressed extreme wealth inequality. Well, we haven't actually changed the dynamics that make capitalism work, which is the incentive to profit, the incentive to innovate would still be there. So Commonwealth fundamentally argues that there is a category of profit that has been known for centuries as something that is unearned by the individual, that if we want to have a decent society that moves towards something that we'd all love to live in, that preserves the environment, that doesn't have extreme wealth inequality, then we need a bit of wealth held in common. And having a stock portfolio and some of the value of land diverted towards something that we share through reduced income taxes and through dividends would be a way to achieve that.